This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Whether you love true crime or comedies, celebrity interviews, news, or even motivational speakers, you call the shots on what's in your podcast queue, right? And guess what? Now you can call the shots on your auto insurance, too. Enter the Name Your Price tool from Progressive. The Name Your Price tool puts you in charge of your auto insurance by working just the way it sounds. You tell Progressive how much you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll show you a variety of coverages that fit within your budget, giving you options. Now that's something you'll want to press play on. It's easy to start a quote, and you'll be able to choose from the best options for you fast. It's one of the many ways you can save with Progressive Insurance. Quote today at Progressive.com to try the new Name Your Price tool for yourself and join the over 28 million drivers who trust Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Think Different podcast. This is Will coming to you very quickly here today. Frank was unavailable for a meeting, and I'll be honest, I am not in the best condition. I have been dealing with a lot of issues with my mouth lately, but I was going to talk about that. So basically, this is an on-the-fly video. Recently, this last week, I got off from work, and I was able to go to my cousin's wedding in Detroit. I used a rental car, and I thought I'd talk about what's been going on with that experience, because I got to use CarPlay, not for the first time, but definitely the first time since the new OS has been out, and just to give my opinion of it. So the last couple weeks have been very difficult. I had a couple cavities that they found very small, and they decided to fill them. And now I have nonstop pain in my right side of my mouth. Every time I am talking, every time that I am speaking or drinking or eating, if it touches anywhere where those sensitive spots are, I'm basically getting a lot of pain. I've been taking Motrin pretty much on a daily basis, like 2 or 3 times a day, which is not the greatest thing. I've even mixed Advil and Tylenol because that's what my doctor told me, and it's just been a real hell of a last couple of weeks for me. I'm afraid I'm going to have to go get a root canal now, even though I wasn't feeling absolutely no pain whatsoever when it came to my mouth when I originally went in just to get a cleaning. So it really is annoying that it's come to this point. It is what it is, guys. I can be mad at the doctor. I feel like, there's definitely something not right. I don't know, he triggered something in my mouth that's now causing a bigger problem that, I have to medically take care of, which is annoying, but that's the way it is, and I got to move on with that. I will say that one thing I haven't talked about since I got my new iPhone 13 is the amazing video quality that I've been taking with the weddings I've been doing. I've been using the wide camera as well as, the standard one zoom lens camera for my iPhone, and I have to tell you, for weddings, it really has been amazing. It's so hard to tell this quality from a regular DSLR. I mean, there definitely are features and reasons, but it's really amazing. So I'm really impressed with the camera of the iPhone 13 Pro that I have. Having the 3 lenses have been great. Actually, the 3 times lens is not as often used on there. I don't think it's as valuable. But I will tell you that the wide angle and the 1-time lens, especially with the stabilization improvements, are tremendous. And I've been really happy with the performance of the 13 Pro. It was a good upgrade. I'm definitely glad I skipped the 12. There's a video on our channel that talks about it. Also, if you haven't been checking out our YouTube videos, I will say that we are very close to 1,000 subscribers on our YouTube, which is crazy. We've been doing a lot of training videos. I've been doing a series called Final Cut Fridays, basically something we did at the Apple Store all the time, and I wanted to kind of continue that series, just teaching what I do every day. Every day, I literally do this every day. I'm on Final Cut Pro editing. And I am working on all the weddings that I work for, which, this year I have 25 weddings to do. And for someone who works full-time, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and also has these amount of weddings to do on the side, is pretty amazing. That I've grown to this point, which is really great. So WV Productions, if you haven't checked it out. And I'm really excited for this journey with videography. It's amazing how much has changed in a matter of 3 years. The amount of recommendations and everything. And also, we're going to be putting up a screen sharing episode. If you look on our YouTube, we will have something this week for iMessage, how to use iMessage and use the screen sharing feature. So if you want to collaborate with somebody and see their screen, you could do that now within iMessage. This is way before even Zoom was around. This was a feature that's been around for years to do. I would say since maybe like Sierra, it's been around. So people just don't take advantage of it or know how to do it. And it's a little fishy. We even have some fishiness in the video on the YouTube. That it did take some time, but also our OSs were completely separated from Frank's and mine. So, but take a look at that video. The main thing I wanted to talk about on this episode was what I did the last week. It was my wife's birthday, so I got to go to Atlantic City, had a free room, so of course they got me to come down there. Even though if you go to the Hard Rock in Atlantic City, you're probably never going to win, because I have not won one time there. I win at the Tropicana, but I never win at Hard Rock. So Hard Rock, you get me to come down there. I enjoy the music, the bands you have. The casino is great. You just don't win there. So that's that. But we got to go to Detroit, and what I wanted to do was rent a car instead of using our own. I mean, my car has 98,000 miles on it right now, so I want to, protect it. My wife's car is 2 years older and has a lot less. It's about 85, 86, and we're trying to protect the car as much as possible. So I thought I'd get a rental. Plus, we're taking our child on this trip. We're taking a car to Detroit, and it's about a 9.5 hour drive from New Jersey where we are. And that's a long drive for a child to be in a car. So we took a risk, and we wanted to see how it would be rewarding. One of the things that in my cars, we have a 2012 and I think a 2015, and it has it's a Kia's, and they're all the old red time clock, and we do not have CarPlay in our car. In fact, my car was 1 year shy of when they introduced CarPlay into a Kia, so I didn't get the opportunity. I think I had a Subaru once in Florida, and I used it. I really liked it, but now this experience, I got to do it again, and I will tell you with CarPlay how much I really enjoy that feature. It really is amazing to see the basics of what you need to use in a car right there. For example, obviously we had directions on to go GPSing wise. I saw like you can see the big red ahead on Apple Maps when something's happening. The only thing is that Apple didn't adjust the time where maybe I could have had a faster route. So I actually stopped the route and I re-added the route. And then I found a different route to go, which would have saved me 30 minutes of traffic backup. And thank God I did that, because I was rerouted and I went through Lake Erie, and that's where not too far where I think Cedar Point is, which I never even knew where that was, and it's right off Lake Erie. And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Let's go see the back roads of Lake Erie. I've never been in the Great Lakes, so this was new for me. But it rerouted me correctly, and it was smart, because on the way home, we saw why there was a backup, because there was one lane. There was a lot of construction going from Pennsylvania into Ohio, into Detroit. So CarPlay, what I loved about it is that I'm able to easily switch my playlists around. They're right there, so I can easily put the playlist on I want. Siri, you'll get a message on the screen, which you can have Siri read to you, because obviously you don't want to pick up the phone, and it'll just announce what the person's text you said, and you can text right back, which I love that feature. I hate the fact that on my iPhone, you could do that, but it's so much better to see it on a screen where you can could tap on it, get the response, well, instead of Siri just announcing it. I love that idea better, because maybe you don't want to read that person's specific text, where right now if you were to, maybe there's a way on the iPhone, but right now I would have to get an announcement for every text, which would be annoying. And the fact that Apple Maps was very clean, I really liked it. And I had SiriusXM available also as an app, but I don't use the app feature. I use the car's SiriusXM, which of course I'm not there's a whole story behind that, because I used to work there. But I really liked the idea of CarPlay, and it's made me consider upgrading my car just for that. because that's how good it is. Now, I know you have to plug in to use it. Also, there are new cars that no longer require it. You can actually, I think, go wirelessly, which would be even better. But of course, my phone was charged the whole time, so I enjoyed that a lot. And I didn't. I only got to scratch the surface. My wife used Waze because that's her preferred maps that she likes to use, and they all were terrific. I really thought the idea of, traveling that far, knowing where your destination is going to be, so you can actually move around the map and see what's going on, which is great. You could easily switch between your audio, video, without it being too distracting. And CarPlay, I feel, is a very underrated feature that Apple has. And of course, if you don't have a car that has it, then you're kind of not really talking about it, like I'm not, because I just don't have a car on a regular basis that has that. I have to use a rental car. And when I go down to Florida, I'm going to be using a rental car there, and I'm sure CarPlay is going to be in the car. So I'm pretty confident in most cars now, and it's such an underrated, valuable feature of CarPlay. But the traveling was amazing. Like, the only thing I will say about some of the downsides of it is when I looked up for food, it doesn't really find everything. It finds restaurants. It didn't really find like a McDonald's, or it didn't find the service area food. So it's a little, again, there's stuff missing in Siri in general. This is just a general thing with Siri, but it's just missing a lot of things I think it could use. The Ask Siri feature, by the way, right on the maps is great. But like I said, I think the searching of the content has not been that good. I was able to find some gas stations. I was able to find, certain things that would make it really easy to reroute myself if I had to. But it was just like when I was trying to find food, I found it to be difficult because it really, like I said, look up restaurants. Like, I scroll down, there's an option for gas stations, restaurants. I tap restaurants, but you don't see like a McDonald's on there. You don't see like fast food, which a lot of people like to do when they're traveling. So yeah, it was just a little odd on how it searches things. But this is my thoughts on CarPlay. This is a quick episode, guys. I wanted to give you something for this week just because I'm dealing with my pain and, Frank was unavailable. I just wanted to give you my journey through Detroit. And by the way, Detroit is interesting. I thought it would be a busier city. It's not at all. In fact, there's barely any traffic or people walking around. Unfortunately, when people say, Detroit's got a bad reputation, we did walk with two individuals to this athletic club that was inside Detroit, a very bougie club. And someone who was walking around the streets was yelling, and he's looked towards our direction and called my wife a white, biatch. And you can guess the color of who he was. I'm with two other guys, and I immediately moved over to the right side of my wife. I'm walking with my kid, and he's trying to insult us to do something. And we didn't, but this happens in every city, so I'm not really too surprised either. I've seen this in Atlantic City or New York, but this is my first time in Detroit, and seeing that guy literally try to antagonize us because of the color of our skin is really just to the point where it's like, well, why would I ever want to come back to Detroit? And I honestly probably wouldn't. There's nothing really there. I didn't get to explore Detroit. I didn't realize how close it was to Canada, by the way, which was a fun fact. A lot of people who lived in Detroit apparently would just drive over to Canada because it's 18 to drink there. So it's very interesting how people in the U.S. could just go right over to Canada and drink no problem. Because of their age. So I thought that was really interesting, some of the stories, people who live there. But it was a great wedding. I had a great time. I shot some footage. I put it on my Instagram. People are amazed that I could put up a video the next day. And I'm using all iPhone footage. It really is a powerful tool. When I breathe Apple, live Apple, this is it. I mean, I use as much tech as I possibly can, using iMovie to record it. I did take a look at iMovie's new iOS features. I try to use it for what I use for the weddings. It would be so much faster if I just did it myself. I didn't really try the new features in the iMovie iOS. I think it's a little silly. It's not even on the Mac side yet. I will try for some things, maybe like my kid's video or, like some birthdays for some people, but I'm not gonna use it for the weddings unless I'm like really like just in a lazy mood and it's just much easier. They did add some new soundtracks, which I did notice, and I like them. But that's really it. I mean, I didn't see anything that I would try to use. So if you want to get into the new iMovie on iOS, when you start it up, there is a feature called Magic Movie, which will just take a bunch of clips that you select and make a movie out of it. Storyboard will help you kind of you can put where you want things, so it's a little bit easier to see the video. And then you have the regular movie itself from scratch. So. But I did try to use Magic Movie. It wasn't really going to work for me. Even Storyboard wasn't going to work for me because they have a lot of pre-templates, and the templates don't really match what I need to use it for. So, but that's really it. I really thank you guys for joining us on the podcast. I hope you like this different format, but I wanted to give you some content to listen to. So I do appreciate you guys listening to my feedback on my CarPlay, my medical issues, and my trip to Detroit. So I really appreciate it, guys. And please subscribe. We really do appreciate any of the feedback that we get. And, of course, our YouTube channel is blowing up, and I do appreciate anyone listening to our YouTube and watching our content. I mean, the video that Frank made with numbers is the #1 video for learning numbers. It's really amazing right now, and I really do appreciate you guys listening into it. I'm Will. I love every single one of you, and we will see you guys next time.